Hello, my name is Maya. Welcome back to my channel. So today is the last video in my 5-part series that has taken me all too long to do because I don't have time in my life, where I review the Orlando theme parks. Today is Universal Studios. I'm going to be splitting this review into 2 parts. The first part will be Universal Studios excluding Harry Potter World. The second part will be exclusively Harry Potter World. I'm doing this because I don't actually have that much to say about Universal as a whole. I went specifically for Harry Potter World. No, I don't condone the turfism of J.K. Rowling, but it is one of my childhood favorite books, and I've always wanted to go to Harry Potter World, and I know I shouldn't be supporting her, but I just gotta say, I just love Harry Potter, so I went. But I do not condone it. I don't like J.K. Rowling, but I can't help it if she made my childhood favorite book. And I just wanted to go. It's been something I've wanted to do for my entire life. I've literally wanted to get a wand from Diagon Alley since I was 11, and I achieved that goal, and honestly, it was magical. Anyways, don't come at me. Yeah, so let's start with Universal. So Universal Studios, I would say, does not have the theme park level that Disney has. I think they tried, but I just don't think they understood the assignment as well as Disney. I would just say, right off the bat, layout's not as great, sightlines not as great, their app isn't even that great compared to Disney. Overall, just a very more mediocre theme park experience in general, and I don't really think it's their fault. I do think they don't have as good of a properties, and they don't have as many worlds that they can build, if that makes sense. I mean, I think if we're looking outside of Harry Potter World, they have worlds that they built, but to say that no one really cares about them is kind of the truth. And yes, they have properties like Transformers and Despicable Me, but instead of making worlds around that, they even have Shrek, and they didn't make a Shrek thing. What the hell? What the hell? Point is they're not utilizing what they have, basically. They have rides, like a Transformer ride. It was fine. It was passable, to say the least. But, if we're looking at the grand scheme of things, you walk along some sort of just plain old studio boardwalk. And I get it, it's the Universal Studios. I get it. It's supposed to look studios. But I didn't even understand half the time if we were in between worlds and there'd just be random walking paths. There was nothing going on there. It just felt kind of pointless, if that makes sense. Whereas when you're in Disney, you're always in something. Everything feels purposeful. Whereas they just threw in random, connecting things that just feel very out of place and not seamless. So you're just walking down this path and you see the fucking construction worker stripper routine it's not actually a stripper routine, but boy did it fucking look like it for a second there. There's playing drums or whatever, but what even is that? I don't even know what that's from. Maybe I'm just missing a reference. But you walk past those guys, and then you go and it's fucking Transformers, and that's it. It's literally just the ride that's Transformers. You know what you could do with Transformers? You know what you could have around? You could literally build an entire world Transformers. You could go ham. Same with Despicable Me. You could go ham. There's many things you can do with that. Shrek? What the fuck? Why am I not going to visit fucking the Happily Ever Afterville or whatever it's called? You know what I mean? Why am I not? Why? There's so many things you could do. You go to Simpsons Land and yeah, okay, they built replicas of the bar, and I'm not the biggest Simpson fan, but I recognize Moe's bar or whatever, and the convenience store, whatever, you know what I mean? They have those built, but what you see is it doesn't feel very seamless. You enter into it, and across the way, you can still see the construction workers doing their half stripper routine on the other side. And it just feels very they didn't utilize the space very well, and they didn't understand how to utilize the space very well. Oh, another thing that I found funny. So they have a really big Jurassic Park kind of area with a bunch of different rides, which I understand. I get it. But it's so funny when you're walking through it because you start off and you're in the Marvel Island. And the funny thing about the Marvel Island is they have, what, 4 properties? They don't really have a lot, right? Disney took all of it. It feels very lackluster, and it doesn't feel very Marvel-y, you know? And we went on the Hulk coaster, and holy fuck, is that a fast coaster? But I'm going to talk about the rides a little bit later. And the, like, Spider-Man ride. But you walk through that, and you go, and you're in Toontown. Didn't recognize a single tune. Didn't understand any of it. There was no, you just walked and you were there. Like, it just felt really like, okay, you didn't understand how to do, like, a transition. You walk from Toontown, you're in King Kong. You're in King Kong for 5 seconds, you go to Jurassic Park. Very big. Biggest park, I think. That's outside of, like, Harry Potter is probably Jurassic. And then you go through Jurassic, and then you're in Harry Potter. And it's like, oh my god. Like, you don't even it's so weird. Like, it doesn't feel seamless. It doesn't feel like everything's, like, disconnected. It feels like it's all connected. And I just feel like when you're trying to create separate entities, it's so weird that you can just, like, you're like, oh, now I'm in Toontown. Oh, now I'm in Jurassic Park. I didn't even realize we ended King Kong. It doesn't feel as seamless as Disney. Let's put that out there. The one thing that I think Universal actually does have going for them, so Disney has a lot of rides for sure, but they're not thrill-seeking rides. They're rides primarily based for children, which is fine because Disney is primarily wanting to make the child's experience amazing, and that is totally understandable. I went as an adult. Kylo did not want to interact with me. Fair enough, I was being a little bitch. But point is that the rides there are kind of lame if you're a thrill seeker. Universal has the answer for you in a very, very opposite way. Their rides are intense. The Hulk coaster is probably the most intense coaster I've ever been on. And I've been to the Edmonton Mall fastest indoor roller coaster. It is a fast ride that jerks you around without any qualms. And it's intense. And all of the rides are on that level. And to be fair, I am a thrill seeker, even though I have extreme motion sickness and I shouldn't be going on any of the rides according to the billboard. But I go on them anyways. Gravel, you know? But they fuck you up. Like, they're actually really intense. And there was no ride that really, like, my best friend who had back issues could go on without being fucked over. Every single one was just really intense. And on top of that, Universal relied a lot on screens compared to Disney. And also, their rides didn't feel as seamlessly melded into what we were doing. So I would say the best example of something that was seamlessly melded in was probably the Simpsons ride. The Simpsons ride was a screen motion simulator, and I could not I had my eyes closed for the majority of it. I don't do well with the motion simulator screens. I get really bad motion sickness on those. But like the Hulk coaster was just a really fast roller coaster. I didn't go on the Velocicoaster, which was the Jurassic Park coaster, because we couldn't do another intense coaster. But that one's just a coaster. Like, it's not anything, like, it's not really like, oh my god, it's so Jurassic Park. Like, it's just a coaster. You know what I mean? And like, a lot of the rides really felt like that. Like, if it wasn't just like a ride, it was a screen ride. So they relied heavily on the screen. So like the King Kong ride, which was kind of lame, had you just wearing the glasses. They didn't really they had one really cool big King Kong animatronic near the end that I really liked, but the rest of it was just reliant on screens. And that's what a lot of the rides that were actually melded into the property had. So the Spider-Man ride was pretty good. It was about I would say 60-40 screen, but still, you know, like we're relying really heavily on screen. And not to say that Disney didn't rely on screen. Sometimes they did, and they did for some of their rides, but the majority of time Disney tried to make their rides a lot more into the property, and they actually paid a lot more attention to having animatronics and making it feel a lot more seamlessly put in. For instance, Rise of the Resistance had like no screens. Like it had view for sure, but it was very animatronic and set building based. And that is what a lot of Disney rides were based around, is you were in a set. You felt really seamlessly in the property that you were riding the ride for. At Universal, you were just riding a themed ride that was based on the property. You know, you weren't in the property, you were just riding a ride that was themed for the property. And it was very apparent, you know? And I will say some of their lines, like, you know, they took some of their lines seriously, where they made it like a Disney line where you had things inside that were based around the property. But still, it's not to the level. And I think the one thing that Universal does have going for it is the intensity of their rides. Because if you want more of an intense experience and you're a bit older, having rides like the really intense coasters is kind of the draw, you know? It is where you want to go for the faster rides compared to Disney. And I really think that if I know Universal is making a whole new section, they're gonna have Mario and all of that, and good for them, honestly, like, woohoo. But if I were to give them any advice, I would say I think you need to get better at blending seamlessly your transitions between different parks, a different part of your parks, making it more secluded and making your sightlines better, and just kind of having worlds feel more like worlds rather than just a themed part of the park. You know, you need to kind of get better at that. I also think if you're making new rides, try to make them more seamlessly like you're in the property. If you're making a Mario ride, I want to feel like there's a Mario animatronic right next to me running. I don't want to be on a screen ride. Screen rides are fine if you go on a few in a theme park, and every theme park is going to have a screen ride, but when the majority of them are either screen rides or just a basic coaster, it doesn't feel as though you're very seamlessly into the property. It doesn't feel like you put a lot of effort into it. And I know that you have money because you have Harry Potter, so you have money. And I think it would be beneficial to not just rely solely on Harry Potter anymore, and to try to upgrade different parts of your park and to make it a little bit better. That is just my advice. It is not that I didn't enjoy the rides that I went on, because, you know, I liked the thrill of them. I liked how they were a step up from Disney. It was the thrill I was looking for. But it's not what it was in Disney. It didn't feel, and I think that I had more properties that I actually enjoyed in Universal and would have enjoyed their rides if they had been made by Disney. And I think that's kind of the truth, because I like Disney and I like a lot of the properties that they have, but Universal also had really cool properties, and I think that if they utilized their properties a little bit better, they would have a lot more of a standing against against Disney. I did go into like maybe one gift shop in Universal, and pretty lackluster gifts. But you know, that's kind of all I have to say about Universal that's outside of Harry Potter. So let's go into the second part, which is going to be based purely around Harry Potter. I loved it. It was phenomenal. What they lacked in the rest of Universal, they made up for in Harry Potter. I was just flabbergasted. They made such beautiful replicas of Hogsmeade and Hogwarts and the Hogwarts Express and Diagon Alley and like Nocturne Alley and Gringotts, and just, it was just so amazing. I cannot stress this enough. If you are a fan of Harry Potter and you have been on the fence about going to Harry Potter World, it is absolutely worth it. It is truly like a dream come true for a kid, and for the kid in me. And I loved it. It was so beautiful. It was everything. And I really think, okay, I will say I think Diagon Alley is better than Hogsmeade in a few regards. First of all, Diagon Alley really felt more secluded. You really felt like you were actually in Diagon Alley. Hogsmeade suffered from the fact that the sight lines weren't great, so you could see the different part of the parks. Like, you could see the Velocicoaster just like along the side. And it didn't have the same seamless blending that Diagon Alley did, though Hogsmeade was absolutely gorgeous. Hogsmeade side had more rides. It had 3 of the 4 rides that are Harry Potter based. Diagon Alley only had 1. However, I think that if you're going to start your trip, I would say start your trip in Diagon Alley, take Hogwarts Express to Hogsmeade, and then end your trip in Hogsmeade. We accidentally started our trip in Hogsmeade and ended in Diagon Alley, and that just didn't bode well overall. The butterbeer, phenomenal. Amazing. Definitely have a butterbeer. So good. They're selling it everywhere. It's so good. So a lot of like what you can do in Harry Potter World is just based around walking around the sites and seeing everything. Obviously there's all the shops that you can go into. I went into every single one, and I gotta say I just really enjoyed it. Though I will say, like, I know that people have mentioned this before, but the shops are teeny weeny. And there's a lot of people there and it can get kind of claustrophobic. But what I really enjoyed about Harry Potter World, and this is something that I think they have over Disney, is the merch. They're selling exactly what the fuck they need to be selling. They're selling wands. They're selling chocolate frogs. They're selling beasts. They're selling like little things that you can get from the Harry Potter world, okay? And that is exactly what the fuck they should be selling. I don't know why other places don't understand this. I want things that are melded into the world. I don't want a shirt that just says like Disney princesses. No, I want something from the world. And this is exactly what Harry Potter delivered. And it was so good. So let me show you what I bought. First off, I also got a sweatshirt that was just like the Dark Mark sweatshirt. I think you've probably seen it in one of my videos. So I got a chocolate frog. I still have the box, but I took out the chocolate frog. The chocolate itself is not great, but you're buying it for the beautiful box. Like, look at this. This is exactly the shit I want. Do you see this? This is straight out of the Wizarding World. You even get the chocolate frog lenticular card. And this is for Artemisia Lufkin in 1798. Artemisia Lufkin was the first witch to become Minister of Magic. Ooh. So really happy with that purchase. It was only like 12 bucks, I think. I also got these Bertie Bott's every flavored bean, of course. Excuse the fact that it's a little bit crushed. I did not have a lot of room in my suitcase when I was coming back. But again, like, I just have the beans in here. I'm not a huge fan of jelly beans, but you see, like, the point is like, this is straight out of Wizarding World. This is something that I can feel like I took from the Wizarding World, and I like that. And then, of course, I got a wand. Ooh, like this acorn. So this is one of the interactive ones. They have, like, I think maybe, like, 10 different options of what interactive wands you can get. It took me a while to actually find the one that I wanted. The thing I will say is, so they want you to do this thing where an attendant helps you to find the wand that you want. They don't want you looking through all of the wands yourself. However, that is not a good, like, it didn't work out well for me. First of all, because you're going based on attendance, and there's like maybe 4 in the store, their time is being monopolized by other people. So when I went in, I was really tired, and I just really wanted to get my wand before I left. And I did not want to spend the time waiting for the girl who was meticulously being shown every single wand from the attendant in order to just grab the wand that I wanted. So I just started looking through the wands, and the attendant did mention something to me at one point, being like, no, like, you can't just grab them yourself and like grab me one wand that I wanted. But I just felt like it was quicker for me to just go look at the ones I wanted. Like, I did the Ollivanders experience where, like, the Ollivander actor, like, picks somebody out of the crowd and gives them a free wand. I didn't get the wand. To be fair, the person who was in a full like Harry Potter Wizarding World cloak in the 40+ degree weather deserved the fucking wand, so I get it. That's some dedication right there, because I could never. But I really like this one. I looked through all of them, basically, just squeezing by the 2 attendants who were being like time burgled by the 2 people. And I also think that's maybe something to like keep in mind. If you do go to the Harry Potter like wand store and you want an interactive wand, like, please don't take up the attendant's time like to the degree where somebody, like other people, can't do the same experience because you're taking up their time. Like, I understand that this is like really important for you, and I get it. Like, I'm fine with just grabbing my wand and picking it solo. That's totally fine by me. But like, if I was a kid and I really wanted the experience of having an attendant go through and tell me like everything about the wand, and, you know, say, oh, this is like the heart of ebony with a whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if I wanted that experience as a child, I would feel really upset if there was someone who was like taking up the entire attendant's time because they're being indecisive. Like, and I would also say, like, if you're an adult, even though they kind of don't really want you to do it, just pick the wand yourself, because like, don't take up the kids' time. Like, it's not really like, I want a wand, but I feel like it's important to make sure that like the younger people who go to Wizarding World really get the experience of going through each wand with the attendant, and not having someone like take up their time who's older. Because especially as a kid, you're not going to take up as much time as an older person, because you're just like, oh, pretty wand, right? Like, and it's fun for them, but you're not taking up as much time. And I just feel like that's kind of maybe, I don't know. And I felt like that with a lot of the shops. They're very cramped, they're very tiny, and trying to get any help from anybody is like almost impossible, because all of their time is being taken up by like one person who really, really wants to just have the experience be about them. And I get it. Okay, you love Harry Potter. Everyone else there loves Harry Potter except for my sister. So let's just chill. But I'm really happy with this purchase. So I did try the interactive part of the Wizarding World, and I gotta say, it's not great. So the way that the interactive wand works is you have this little sensor at the end, and you go to different parts and you get a little map. My map's in my wand box hidden somewhere else, so I'm just not gonna grab it. But you get a map that shows you all the interactive parts, and they obviously have spells that go with it, and obviously like how you do the spell. So initially, I walked up to, I don't even remember, I have videos of me trying it, but I tried to do it, you know, as they wanted me to do. So you say the spell and you do the thing, and it's fun, it's cute. However, the way that these things work is there is a motion sensor camera. Now, they hide the motion sensor camera for the magic, which is totally understandable. I get it. But the motion sensor cameras are most of the time hidden in the spot where when you do the wand thing, even if you stand on the pedestal where you're supposed to stand to do the wand movements, it doesn't pick up your wand, which is actually really, really upsetting. There was this one where we couldn't find the motion sensor camera. And then when you're trying to do it and you realize what the trick is, then you're not doing the actual wand. It takes away the magic. What you're doing is you're looking for the motion sensor camera. So it's not as much fun. And I understand that, like, it's hard to get these motion sensor things to work all the time. It's technology. Technology is not flawless. However, I do think that they need to upgrade some of the interactive portions to make it so that it's not like searching for the motion sensor camera to make the thing move, and instead it's more going up and doing your spell and feeling like you're actually part of the Wizarding World. Because what that does, searching for the motion sensor camera, is it takes away from the magic that you're supposed to be giving to your guests. And I felt very disappointed by that, actually. Not that the ones that we couldn't get to work weren't fun to play with. There were, the ones in Nocturne Alley were quite good, actually. There was this door, and an attendant actually came up and helped us point the wand exactly where we needed to point it, which I really appreciated. But still, I don't really think that should be necessary. I think that it should be a lot better managed. And if that means multiple motion sensor cameras hidden in different parts, I think you can do that. I don't think you should have just one, because I know that everyone had just one, and that's kind of fallible, because there was a few where the motion sensor camera was not where it should be. So just a little, if they're ever upgrading Harry Potter World, and they happen to see this video, just a little tidbit on how I would make it a bit better. Because I just think, you know, I'm supposed to be part of the wizarding world. I'm supposed to have my wand. I'm supposed to be a wizard. So why the fuck is it not working? And also I think that takes away from the fun for the kids too, because the kids are not going to understand as well as the adults that the motion sensor camera is what you need to look for. So they're just going to be upset that doesn't work. Other than that, like, I gotta say the merch was great. Obviously they had everyone's wand labeled and you could find it. There was one wand shop in Hogsmeade and one in Diagon Alley. I wanted to get mine from Diagon Alley because I am a bitch for stickler and I've always just wanted to get my wand from Diagon Alley. So I did, even though it's the exact same wand shop. And then of course they just had like merch stores that had like your Hogwarts house merch. I would say things were kind of a bit on the pricier side, but well, I wasn't expecting anything less than that, so it's fine. But I do think they had the best merch out of everywhere that I've seen. So I'll give them that. I really appreciated it. Maybe it was just the merch that I really wanted, but I think it was good. Experience of just walking around, great. The food was actually really good. They actually had some good vegetarian options. We ate at both the Three Broomsticks and the Hogshead, and then there was the Leaky Cauldron. So the Leaky Cauldron was in Diagon Alley, and then the Three Broomsticks was in Hogsmeade, and then Hogshead was also in Hogsmeade. Hogshead was just the bar side of the Three Broomsticks, which is totally fine by me. Three Broomsticks was really nice. It was like a cafeteria style. My favorite thing about the restaurants is that they play purely the Harry Potter soundtrack, which of course they would, but it's just instrumental. And there's like not that many songs, so it's just the same like 20 songs on repeat in the instrumental. But the Three Broomsticks was really nice. Hogshead was like not as great as it should be. I think they could have made that a separate thing, but I also understand like cost wise and like space wise they probably were struggling a little bit with that, which is fine. And then Leaky Cauldron was definitely had better food, and I really liked the environment of Leaky Cauldron too. So highly recommend eating at both. And obviously you can get butterbeer there. You can get butterbeer from little stands outside too. And I really liked them. They were good. Then I will talk about the rides. So there's 4 rides. I'm going to list them from least favorite to favorite. Least favorite was the Hippogriff coaster. It is the one that is on the other side of Hagrid's motorbike ride. This one was a slow, very quick coaster that didn't have a lot going for it. It felt like an afterthought. But I will say this, the Hippogriff coaster felt to me like something you would take your 7-year-old on because they couldn't go on Hagrid's motorbike. And I think that makes sense. I understood that it was more for the children who couldn't go on the faster rides, because the Harry Potter rides were actually very intense, most of the time, except for the Hippogriff coaster. It wasn't for me, but I understood its purpose. Then I would say the Hogwarts ride was my like 3rd favorite. Everything above the Hippogriff coaster I really loved, so like don't think that I didn't love it. I loved it. It's really fun. You're basically like escaping through Hogwarts, following like Harry, Ron, and Hermione out. And they have, the line is like you're in the Hogwarts corridors, which I really, really liked. You get to see projections of Harry, Ron, and Hermione like inviting you to kind of go with them and like hide away, and they're under their invisibility cloak and all that. And then the ride, you know, like you're soaring over Hogwarts, you're flying around, you're like being carried around by Hermione, like the levitation spell that she puts on your little cart or whatever, and you're like flying through the road. I liked it. It was fun. It was not like the most memorable of all the rides, but still a really good time. And then I would say Hagrid's Motorbike was my second favorite one. I really liked Hagrid's Motorbike. It's a very fast ride, very fast coaster, but super fun. You're actually riding on Hagrid's motorbike. I ride on the motorbike, and some random person was on the little side cart with me because I was there for a little bit later just by myself. And I loved it because you know what I really liked about Universal that I didn't mention in my Universal talk, but I thought was really smart, is they have a single person's line. You basically skip the entirety of the line. So if you're there by yourself, or you just want, like, if you're there with someone else and you guys don't want to wait in like a 2-hour line, the single person's line is amazing. And I actually really appreciated that. I was able to knock out 3 rides because of the single person line in like an hour. And I liked that. I liked that a lot. So I think that was like a really great idea, and I wish Disney would implement that. Anyways, moving back to what I was saying, Harry's Motorbike was really fun, and I also liked that it was outdoors, and they had a lot of animatronics. I thought that was really nice. And then my favorite was the Gringotts ride. I really enjoyed the Gringotts ride. So you're basically just escaping from Gringotts with Ron, Hermione, and Harry Potter, and you're being chased by the dragon, and there's Voldemort and Bellatrix there for reasons, and I really enjoyed it. It was just a fun time. And it's very similar to the Hogwarts one, but I just think has better storytelling and kind of fit more seamlessly within the lore of Harry Potter. And you're basically just doing what you do in the 7th movie, which I really appreciated. So that's, I would say, all of the rides except for the Hippogriff coaster. If you have like a 7-year-old, go on the Hippogriff coaster. If you don't, just focus on the main 3, because those are the best ones for sure. In order to get from one side of the park to the other park, you can take the Hogwarts Express, or you can walk around like outside of the park and then enter into the different part. So obviously I took the Hogwarts Express. I only ever took it going from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley twice. I never took it the other way, but I'm assuming it's like the same deal. But what I thought was kind of interesting about it is, like, you get this screen, right, where the window's supposed to be, and they just show you, like, a bunch of, like, random shit. Like, they had a ad for Wizards Weasley's, you know, the Weasley's store. I can't say it. Wizard Weasley's, whatever. I'm not even gonna try. You know what I mean, because it just opened, and that was a great store. Fun times. But like, it felt a little bit cheap to me, but actually being on the Hogwarts Express and sitting in the compartment was a lot of fun. And like having it arrive in the station was a lot of fun. So like, just a minor critique on my part, because I like to critique things, but overall, fucking phenomenal. Worth every penny. Would go again. It was actually the only thing that I would go to again within like the next 10 years, because I really, really enjoyed it. It is just so much fun. And if I were to go back, I think I would go, just purely for Harry Potter. I don't think I would do anything else in Universal. There's not much that I care about there. There's not much fun to do. I would just spend like one day purely in Harry Potter and just really take it in and just really be there, because it was awesome. So that is my review of Universal Studios, and look at my power. Look at the power I have with this wand. Woo! Anyways, okay. Yeah, that is my review, and I would highly recommend Harry Potter World. So I will see you in the next one. Bye!